Hello, welcome to Hoopscene.com's March to Macon show. We're breaking down the Elite Eight, and we're talking about Class 6A. I'm joined by Justin Young, Robert Alfonso, Eric Ellington, our panel of experts here. I'm Mike Eddy, and we're going to jump right into 6A. Like I said, we're in the Elite Eight, but Eric, why don't you start first? What have you learned so far?
The big thing I think we've learned is the teams that we thought were really good are really stinking good. Outside of Shiloh, who was one of my Final Four picks, we've got Tift County who went in and just had a great game against Westlake this week. Was really impressive. Norcross really hadn't been challenged, and they've played a couple really good teams, as well as Wheeler. Wheeler kind of has dominated their side of the bracket, so and Hillgrove as well. So I think what we've kind of seen is the powerhouses are true powerhouses in this classification. We can start with Hillgrove Brunswick, and I know Justin, you've seen Hillgrove quite a bit.
That's a team that doesn't surprise me at all that they're in the place that they're at. I mean, they've got a really good, well-balanced team. Ed Morse has done a really good job of maintaining continuity with those guys from the time that they're in their early programs to where they're at varsity. Nothing really changes. And junior guard Kyle Castleton's having a fantastic year. There's a lot of balance around them, but I'm really intrigued by this matchup they have with Brunswick, a team that I know you've kind of done some digging on and really kind of seen what they are. I think that's a matchup that really could be an interesting outcome when it plays out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're basically a senior-laden team. They've got 10, 11 seniors on their squad. And that Savannah, Brunswick area has a ton of talent. And you'll see that in the other classifications as well. But, the question in that matchup is Hillgrove has to travel down there to play. Will home court advantage serve Brunswick well in that matchup?
One thing to really kind of think about, let's say Hillgrove goes down to Brunswick and they win, which I actually think that they'll do. We also, I think, need to start talking now, and if it isn't already part of the conversation in Atlanta, McEachern for years was the team that I think everybody kind of expect outside, not named Wheeler, right? And Marietta was before them. Hillgrove's kind of moving into this place now where they're this constant force in basketball. I think what we're seeing now, and again, Kyle Castleton's there, Keith Reza Jr., they're going to be back again next year with some important parts. They go down there to the coast. That's a long trip, 5-6 hour drive, or maybe shorter than that. I don't know. I drive fast. It's pretty quick for me.
On a school bus, it could be longer.
True. To go down there and to pick up that win to advance to the Final Four, I think we need to talk about that long term, about what this does for Hillgrove's program as well. We're really watching, I think, a really budding dynasty in the works as well.
Well, here's the thing, and you mentioned that, and that's one of the things I was thinking about is, you can create, and what does it do? But what does it do right now? And what it does right now is hopefully create some excitement in that community where people can say, you know what, we are the next program. Let's get behind our kids. Let's get behind our coach. Let's get behind our community so that we're no longer the afterthought, that we're actually being discussed as we're in the conversation. And I think with this run, regardless of how it continues or where it ends, I think they're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're already there. I think they've earned the respect, and the region they've played in this year has allowed them to be that place and their history as well. So I like this team a lot in this matchup.
And I was going to say we're talking 6A basketball here and Elite Eight. We want you to join the conversation with us. Hit us on Twitter at Hoopscene. Also use hashtag March to Macon. We're using March to Macon, so join the conversation on Twitter. Eric, I want to throw it back to you. So, you talked about some of the favorites they've outside of Shiloh have performed as expected. What are some of the surprises right now? Who are you looking at, or who are you looking to make some, maybe make a run even further that would be a surprise to people?
Well, I think, and I don't know how much you can call them a surprise because they're a top 10 team this year, but when you look at the Peachtree Ridge Wheeler matchup, to me that's a really intriguing matchup here in this next round because I think both teams are strong at the same positions.
Right.
And I know the Wheeler fans, me and Mr. Hoopscene here were out there this weekend, and they were a little upset that some people have said that they're soft or have the easiest road to the champ or the Final Four. Well, this week's going to be a chance for them to really change that perception, because Peachtree Ridge is a hard-nosed, tough team. They're talented. They don't get talked about a lot, but Keith Arrington always has those guys
Always.
playing
That's
hard. You know, so that's a matchup I really look forward to seeing, because, you know, like I said, where Wheeler's strong, Peachtree Ridge is strong. So I think that's going to be a really interesting one. You know, and then the other one that I think the surprising team has been Berkmar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Berkmar, once again, they're another top 10 ranked team. How much can you call them a surprise? But you know, for them to come out, beat Roswell and Alpharetta, now they're matched up against Norcross, and you know, I think the big key for all of these teams is most of them have good senior leadership.
Well, and that's the one thing that North Cobb is going to need to lean on as they make their trip down to Tift County, because the folks down at Tift County made sure that gym was sold out, you know, on Saturday night for the domination that they had up against Westlake. And having been at North Cobb Saturday night, had an opportunity to see what that senior leadership has done, what they've been able to do over the last 4 years, you know, with Neff, with Lee Moore, with Young. All these guys are experienced, and that's a tough bunch of guys, you know, and they're going to be battle tested, but they're going into an environment that on a Wednesday night, the only thing that will keep people out of that place is church. You know, you know, but there will be a sermon going on at Tift County that I'm sure the folks will want to come and see. So that's something that for the North Cobb folks, as well as, you know, the Berkmar folks, you know, this is a chance to really separate yourselves from a lot of the conversations, and Peachtree Ridge as well.
That's
Well,
right.
it was a revival on Saturday down in Tift County, as Westlake, a team that I think a lot of us here in Atlanta thought would have given Tift County a really good run for their money. Tift County drops a 30-plus spot
Right.
on Westlake to get things going. Todrick Jackson was fantastic, just fantastic. And so when you look at this, I think North Cobb is a really well-disciplined team, probably one of the best defensive teams we've seen in the state. It's number 1 and number 2 in the power rankings.
Right.
It's to me, it's exactly what we want to see when we get to this level of the
Sure,
playoffs.
sure.
But that all being said, Tift County is trucking people right now.
Yeah.
And they're playing with such a confidence that it's scary. It's absolutely scary. They played St. Anthony from New Jersey, one of the best defensive teams in the country this year. I think number 9 at the rankings when they played them. They lost by 6 points up in the Northeast. So Tift County's seen teams that know how to defend. North Cobb's going to try to apply that will on them. I can't wait for that matchup. I think that's a really impressive thing. But that first, 35 points in the first quarter, that's a message.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a message to the entire metro Atlanta area saying, guys, don't forget about us. We're really good, and we take no prisoners. That's a scary team to play.
Yes, it is.
And now we're back to the Elite Eight. So, Eric, you did pretty well in the first rounds outside of Shiloh, like we said. So, give us your Final Four now. You get a redo, a little bit of a
Well,
redo
a
here.
little
Give
bit,
us a
little
Final
bit.
Four final and who you think's going to win it all.
You know, I still have my 3 of my original Final Four, which is Tift County and Norcross, and Hillgrove. You know, I missed out on the Shiloh thing. Peachtree Ridge beat them, and you know, I think that's a game I love. The Peachtree Ridge Wheeler. I think home court is going to be the difference in that game. You know, I think if it was at Peachtree Ridge, I would pick Peachtree Ridge. But since it's at Wheeler, Wheeler's now my new Final Four team.
Okay.
And I have Hillgrove and Tift County playing for a state championship, with Tift coming out on top.
All right. There you have it. That's Class 6A, the Elite 8. That wraps our show on the March to Macon with hoopscene.com. Make sure to find us on Twitter at hoopscene. Join the conversation, #March to Macon.